Yeah, it's always a good idea to have a coffee date with your realtor before you start looking at properties. Because, first of all, you need to develop a little rapport, see if it's a good fit for both you and the realtor. And these days, it's required that you need to sign a buyer broker representation form. And so then we go over all the other things too, but that's one of the first steps to buying real estate. So here we are inside the Desert Kid. It's a super popular place. It's closing in about an hour, 4 o'clock. They could stay open later because somehow they're extremely popular. I mean, I like it, but I'm just curious why it's so popular. You know what? It might be because this environment is so chill and it's very big. And look I can do this with some privacy. Because other places you're going to go to, it's going to be just too busy. But see, it's not too bad here. So anyway, since it's so hot outside, I forget how hot it is. I don't know what the temperature is, but it's hot. May 14th, 2026 in Palm Desert. And I was going to get a coffee, but it's getting to be Arnold Palmer time. So that's what I'm drinking now. It's half lemonade, half iced tea, if you know what that is. That's a Arnold Palmer. Very good. So anyway, we're here to discuss your real estate hunt. Your hunt for the perfect property. And what we have to do here is first, let's talk a little bit about your dreams, what your dream house is, how much you want to pay for it, or what's the range. When you feel like, when are you able to make the move or planning on making the move, and all of those kinds of things. And I'll take copious notes while you explain all these things to me, unless you've already emailed me. But one of the main reasons to meet in person is to see if we can, if we have rapport, and if we want to work together. And one of the things that is required now for realtors to do is have the buyer sign a buyer representation form. And that merely means that you are willing to work with this agent for 30 days, and that's the maximum that is on this form, to look at properties. Not necessarily buy right now, but at least look at properties. And then after the 30-day period, I will give you a list of the properties that we looked at. And of course, the expectation is that if you do decide to buy the property, you will use me as your representative. I've been doing real estate here in the desert since 2006, and I even did real estate in Hilton Head Island for a few months out there when I was out there. But I came back to continue living here in Palm Desert and use my real estate license to help people find the property that they want to buy, or help people sell the property they want to sell in order to move on to the next phase, whatever it is. Maybe upsizing, downsizing, real estate investment, so many choices, so many options. So it's always good to have a face with a voice, and that's the reason I like to get together with somebody. And then we can agree if you want to continue working together. If we want to continue working together, I will send you via DocuSign. I could bring it with me, but generally I probably would bring it with me, come to think of it, because it's nice to go over certain things. You get a little preview, and when you get home, you can really read it, fine print, and then once I send it to you via email, via DocuSign. You know, you've heard of DocuSign. It makes it real easy to sign everything. But, you know, during our coffee meeting, I will explain to you exactly what's in it and answer any questions you have, you know, along with, of course, finding out about your real estate goals, how I can help you, and what I will do in order to help you achieve those. So that is my job, and I just hope that you won't hesitate to give me a call at 760-587-6009 or email me. You can easily find my contact info at wendysdesertrealestate.com. Has all the contact info. So whatever you're comfortable with, text, email, call, any of those methods, just contact me and we'll take it from there. So I hope you've enjoyed this little get-together. I wanted to say why we now have that broker representation form. It's only been in use for like a couple years now, yeah. And what it does is it helps both buyers and the realtors set the expectations, and so that way nobody's disappointed, and it's a way to move forward. Set expectations, that's the main thing. So for both parties. And what else? So yeah, it's beneficial to both parties, and now it's pretty much definitely official protocol. And what else would I want to say about it? Yeah, it only lasts for 30 days, like I said, and then you get the ones that the properties we looked at, I would send them to you. What else was I going to say about it? I guess I'll remember later. So that's the main thing. It's the place to start when you're doing your real estate search, and if you want to look at properties. And it makes sense because, you know, you really do need a realtor to give you access to all the homes that you might be interested in. Otherwise, you're just going to have to depend on, you know, Zillow or something and see when the open houses are. But that's really not the most efficient way to look for a property. And I think that's all I have to say today. So please do call me, email me, text me if you have any questions. I'm Wendy Campbell with Home Smart Professionals, and I'm the realtor in the know from Palm Springs to Indio. I actually do the whole valley, and I've worked with every kind of property, everything from land to condos to nice houses to like super nice houses. I like the mix. I find it interesting, the mix of people and the mix of properties. So, and I've been doing this, did I mention, since 2006. So I've got the experience that you can count on. And what else can I say now? Please check out my website or give me a call and let's talk. Have a nice rest of the day or night, wherever you are. Cheers. I know what I forgot to mention about the buyer broker representation form. earlier at our coffee date, I forgot to mention that the compensation for the buyer's agent has now shifted a little bit, but not generally in practice. Usually the seller, the listing agent's seller, he or she, they will, they will pay the compensation to the buyer's agent, whether it's 2.5% or even 3%, and occasionally they'll go down lower, 2%. And so the buyer is required to perhaps say they would be interested in, I know they don't really want to, but they might have to make up the difference. Say the seller only offers the buyer's agent, say, 2%, and the average commission these days tends to be 2.5%. So the buyer might have to kick in that 0.5%. So that the buyer's agent gets the 2.5% commission that is pretty common these days. So, but that really happens. And when I before I write up an offer, I always check with the listing agent to see if the seller is interested or not interested, committed to paying, say, 2.5% compensation to the buyer's agent. And then I include that in the offer so that it's all in writing. And so it's kind of business as usual in that way. But there is an occasional curveball that might show up from a seller who, for whatever reason, doesn't want to pay the buyer's agent perhaps any compensation. So then there's different ways of dealing with that and overcoming that obstacle. But that's where the buyer broker representation that clarifies that too, saying that the buyer would include paying their agent, the buyer's agent, their compensation, and these days they can actually write it into the loan amount that they get. So, but like I said, it's practically a moot point, but not really. I mean, you have to prepare for whatever situation pops up. And that's another thing that the buyer broker representation form covers that. But like I said, 9 times out of 10, the seller will pay at least 2.5% commission and maybe even 3%, depending on how serious they are. So there you go. I remembered what I forgot earlier to mention to you. So looking forward to hopefully hearing from you, and let's have our coffee date. Bye for now.